Machado Garry might get the next title shot against Islam, according to Michael Bisping, in an article written by Harry Kettle. Now, how do you know when it's a slow news week? How do you know when it's a slow news week? When you get an article written about you, so now we're already secondhand, about something that might happen. Right? And every statement's true. Every statement is true if you use the word might. But hear me out on this. This is Michael talking. Is Ian Garry versus Islam Makhachev the fight that is going to happen? Because it just might be. Bisping says, hear me out. Ian Garry is the #1 ranked guy on the planet, and he's beaten some tremendous fighters along the way. And of course, he took Shavkat Rakhmonov in a #1 contender match, took him 5 rounds, almost got a submission in the 5th round. Since then, he comes back and the man is still fighting. Last time out, he took out Belal Muhammad, who's a former champion. Before that, he took out Carlos Prates, one of the hottest names right now in the division. You can't deny what he's done in his career. You just can't, Bisping said. As much as you might want to, you can't. When he got in the deep end of the division against the MVPs and the Geoff Neals, Carlos and Belal, what did he do? He won all those fights. Okay. I like this theme, and there is nothing wrong with making a prediction that Ian Garry is next. There would be nothing wrong with making Ian Garry next. Ian Garry, for sure, is on the short list of #1 contenders, for sure. Somewhere along the way, Morales came into the picture. And it was at Madison Square Garden. He's taking on Sean Brady, catches him, puts him down, gets a quick victory. And it was alleged that he was told that he would be next. Now, I've got to word it that way because that never got confirmed. I was there. I didn't see that happen. Now, and Morales hasn't acted like a guy that's next. Right? We've heard from other people, Dana told him he's next, but he never said, Dana told me I'm next. I was at the event. I'm watching Dana. I'm not a lip reader. I'm just sharing for you. I didn't see that. Very relevant, because if he was told he's next, then we have nothing to talk about. He's going to be next. I don't know that he was told that. And then you got Kamaru Usman. And then you got Ian Garry. And all of these guys have a really good argument. I am on the side of Kamaru Usman. I thought what he did against Buckley was just outstanding. Not to mention in conjunction with all the rumors that we heard about Kamaru Usman, that his knees are gone, he can't run anymore, he can barely work out. Like, all of these things got shoved in our face and shown to be untrue. So I'm on the side of Kamaru Usman, but there's a little bit more to it, which is I do believe that Garry's going to fight for a championship. I believe all 3 of those guys are going to fight for a championship. Now you just come down to, well, what order are we going to do it? And with Kamaru Usman, like anybody, you got a clock that's ticking. With Ian Garry, you got a clock that's ticking, but at least in theory, there's a hell of a lot of runway. And Islam is seemingly a bad matchup, right? He's seemingly a bad matchup for Garry. But Garry keeps on getting better. I mean, in theory, Rakhmonov was a bad matchup for Garry. In theory, that was the one that was going to wipe the Ian Garry mystique from everybody's minds. And that just simply is not what happened. And I have to remind myself that Garry lost that fight. Like, if you look at like his stock, who bounced and whose stock went up, Garry's went up that night against Rakhmonov, including in defeat. But if you don't put Garry in for a title fight, where do you put him? I mean, you got this young guy that could be the face of a division. In all fairness, Garry could be the face of the organization. Garry has that kind of appeal. If you put a belt around his waist on top of it, it's not an exaggeration to say that Garry could be the face of the organization. And he's getting better. And a lot of guys don't get better. A lot of times they say, well, let me get this guy some experience. Let's build him. That's in theory. That's in soccer. That's in baseball that you get a guy a few reps. In fighting, you don't. I mean, one guy to talk about this is Evander Holyfield. That by the time you make it to a certain level, all you're trying to do and train is maintain. You're not going to get any better. Garry is getting better. He's an exception. I know you love to think that everybody that goes out there and does it gets better. This is what you tell little kids. This is what you tell an 8 and a 9 and a 10-year-old, because it's true. They will naturally get better, and then their bodies grow, and you go through something called puberty. Like, there's a real truth to it. When you're dealing with a man, when you're dealing with a guy 26, 27, 28, He's not getting any better. That's a broad stroke. But I just share with you, Garry is an outlier who's getting better. In theory, the Islam match is a very bad matchup for Garry. It's a bad matchup for everybody. So do you want to play that card right now? And if you don't play the card, who do you put him with? Like, Garry could get knocked off at any point. Belal could have knocked him off. Prates could have knocked him off, right? I mean, it's iron on top of iron. That's why you take the chances that you can get when you can get them. But if you were to give Garry that matchup, what do you do with Kamaru Usman? It's an interesting thing. And 170, you have some guys that are very good, but you've only got 2 stars in the whole division between Colby and Garry. That's the reality. Oh, gee, Chael, why do you say that? Well, because none of them call each other out. It's as boring as watching paint dry. I got no heat with Morales. When Morales sees this, I don't want him to think Chael's taking a shot at him. But if there's a rumor that Dana White told Morales, you're next, whether it happened or not, if that rumor is out there, Morales should have knocked that ball out of the park. He should have done everything he can do to make people believe that did happen. He hasn't. And he hasn't called for anybody else. Ian Garry, that's pretty good at putting his finger in somebody's chest, has been pretty respectful when it comes to Islam. But nobody's calling for Islam. If no one calls for Islam and you're not good at callouts, you suck at callouts, but you give one on a curve, you're an A+. Right? If I'm grading you on a curve, which means I throw out the highest score and I throw out the lowest score, and you're the only one, you got an A+. Kamaru Usman, who I want to get the title shot, and by the way, stylistically, it's very easy to close your eyes and imagine Kamaru being able to beat him. That's hard to do with other people. Whether somebody else could beat Islam or not, it will come to us as a surprise. If Kamaru beat him, it would not come as a surprise. But Kamaru has a personal relationship with Islam. Kamaru's a sportsman. Kamaru's manager and Islam's manager are the same. Like, it's kind of in the family. And so Kamaru's going about this very politely too. And I wish they wouldn't. I mean, somebody at 170 has got to step forward and bring some kind of an interest to us. And if the biggest headline that we've got in 2 months, as it regards to the division, is that Ian Garry might get a title shot, those in the division are doing something very wrong.